This is commentary on Lesson 74 in the Workbook for A Course in Miracles. There is no will but God's. You'll notice in this set of lessons that we've talked about in individual lessons love, peace, and joy. And we spoke of love as the only reality and that we're an expression of that love and that there is nothing else but love. And that peace was a function of forgiveness in that this alternative to love, which is this individual ego existence, is forgiven in the sense that we no longer believe in the reality of it, and we have peace now because we're only listening to the Holy Spirit, perception and thoughts about who we are. And in this, and then also we had lessons that emphasized happiness or joy. And so now in this lesson, it's talking about joy being the natural state of the peaceful mind. And the peaceful mind is one that is just reflecting love. So that is our criteria for knowing we're thinking with the Holy Spirit, that we're peaceful, we've accepted forgiveness of this ego thought system, and we're only listening to the Holy Spirit. And joy is the state of mind we experience. Now, this lesson is a really, really important lesson in training the mind because its procedures are very specific. And basically, what it is just this assertion that love is the only reality and the will of love is the only thing that exists. And that when we know that, we'll realize we can't be in conflict with that love because that's all that exists. We can't be in conflict with God or God's will. That's the only thing that exists. And then the practice is for us to assert that, to hold on to that idea and look at the related thoughts, what else that means. If I'm not in conflict with God, then my day is one of joy, of peace, of knowing exactly what to do, where to go, what to say, and to whom. That there need not be anxiety. All of those related thoughts. And then if conflicts, and they inevitably will arise, we can deal with each one of those conflicts, not deny it, not push it away because it's not real, but look at it and deny its hold on the mind. So whatever that conflict is with somebody or something or some event. So this is the process in the Course, is love's the only thing that exists. The seeming problem is that we've denied that. And now what we need to do is to deny the denial. So we denied the truth, and now we need to deny that denial and assert just the truth of what we are. So practicing this very specifically will be really important. All right, here we go. The idea for today can be regarded as the central thought towards which all our exercises are directed. God's is the only will. When you have recognized this, you have recognized that your will is His. The belief that conflict is possible has gone. Peace has replaced the strange idea that you're torn by conflicting goals. As an expression of the will of God, you have no goal but His. There is great peace in today's idea, and the exercises for today are directed towards finding it. The idea itself is wholly true. Therefore, it cannot give rise to illusions. Without illusions, conflict is impossible. Let us try to recognize this today and experience the peace this recognition brings. Begin the longer practice periods, and now we're doing two a day, at times most convenient when we know we won't have interruptions, for 10 or 15 minutes. We begin this practice period by repeating these thoughts several times, slowly and with firm determination to understand what they mean, to hold them in our mind. So we want to say this slowly. That's really important, and with determination to understand what they mean and to hold this idea firmly in the mind. There is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. There is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. And then we spend several minutes in adding some related thoughts such as, I'm at peace, nothing can disturb me, my will is God's, my will and God's are one, God's peace God wills peace for his son. So these will be specific thought. These are like specific thoughts that could be in your mind if you're really holding on to this idea, there is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. This should resonate with other thoughts. We should start thinking with that right part of our mind then. And so whatever thoughts that are congruent with this idea, that what you can infer to be true because this is true, that's what we want to spend our time thinking about, those kinds of thoughts, such as I'm at peace, nothing can disturb me. Okay, during this introductory phase, be sure to deal with any conflict thoughts that may cross your mind. Tell yourself immediately, there is no will but God's. These conflict thoughts are meaningless. All right, so as we're attempting to get that part of the mind that is healed, that's at peace, that knows who we are, since there was a desire to be in conflict with that, conflict thoughts are going to come up in persons, places, circumstances, situations. So very specifically as they come up, we want to look at that thought and just say, that's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. It can't mean anything because there is no will but God's. All right, so we want to address the conflict. We don't want to ignore it. And then if there's one conflict area that seems particularly difficult to resolve, single it out for special consideration. So we all have these, right? Where our very existence can seem to be threatened, where our very relationships seem to be the bane of our existence. They're going to come up. So we want to take them up, single them out, think about them briefly, but very specifically, and identify the particular person or persons and the situation or situations involved, and tell yourself, there is no will but God's. I share it with him. My conflicts about whatever that person, place, situation, or circumstances, my conflicts about that cannot be real. Okay, so my conflicts about, for instance, the issue of the water cooler with my boss cannot be real. Whatever it is, the issues with my child who's endangering himself and does not listen to me cannot be real. So this takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of maturity, it takes a lot of effort, but we have to deal with each one and dismiss them so we can get to this part of the mind where there's peace and there's joy. So once we've done that and we've cleared our mind in this way, we close our eyes and we try to experience the peace to which your reality entitles you. We sink into it, feel it closing around you. There may be a temptation to mistake these attempts for withdrawal, but the difference is easily detected. So in other words, this can seem like denial, right? This can seem like it's unreal, that we're pretending something unreal, that we're ignoring something that's real. But again, you have to just look at this idea that we've denied the truth. There is nothing but love, and now we need to deny that. So we're not ignoring the seeming conflict. We're dealing with it. We're just interpreting different. This conflict is really unreal. This conflict is impossible. Okay, so it's not withdrawal or denial. And if you're succeeding, you'll feel a deep sense of joy and an increased alertness rather than a feeling of drowsiness or enervation. Okay, so joy characterizes peace. By this experience, will you recognize that you've reached it? So that's the state of mind we want to be in. This love state of mind that's peaceful and that's joyful. That's how we know we're succeeding. So if we start losing that and we feel ourselves slipping off into withdrawal, we quickly repeat the idea for today and we try again. There is no will but God's. I cannot be in conflict. And we do this as often as necessary. There's a definite gain in refusing to allow retreat into withdrawal, even if you do not experience the peace you seek. So you can see here the tremendous effort that it's asking for us to really work ourselves to that peaceful part of our mind where the joy exists, where we're not in conflict, where for that moment at least all of our problems have truly, truly been resolved, because they're resolved in this memory of love, of peace and joy. All right, so that's the longer practice periods. And in the shorter periods, which should be undertaken at regular and predetermined intervals today, say to yourself, There is no will but God's. I seek His peace today. And then we try to find what we're seeking. So here's a suggestion: a minute or two every half hour with eyes closed, if possible, would be well spent on this today. So this is asking for a lot of practice. I mean, every half an hour, a minute or two, and we can do it with our eyes open. But if we have the opportunity, we can close our eyes. And that there's the promise of this lesson is that we'll have tremendous gains from this if we practice throughout the day. Even if we just did it once, it'd be really valuable. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you.